You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Oh, sick. Oh, that would have been sick.
Wow. Day 3 of no hockey. We are out of ideas for the lead.
Unscripted shooting.
We just be balling.
He was having some makes before that, but
I made 2 in a row at one point. There's this little gap between the light and the air vent, and it gives you a really nice line. Anyways,
That was a sick dunk, but no one got that on camera.
yeah, no one
would
watched.
you watch a highlight tape of office dunks of Waz just getting posterized?
Yeah, I dunk over was often in the office.
No, this is a good one by Mulek. Building the studio brick by brick. God damn. Damn. Welcome in Oilers Nation Everyday, live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. Also, the show is presented by Bet365. Download the app. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Welcome into the show today. Yeah, we're pretty bored.
I've been watching Kitchen Nightmares a lot this week so far.
What?
Yeah, watch that show, the Gordon
No.
Ramsay one. I
So you're
think
not on the Penguin yet. So you lied to me.
I'm going to see Gladiator 2 tomorrow. I'm not seeing the first one yet, and I'm supposed to be doing that. But Kitchen Nightmares, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
So after you watch this show and all our other content, I'd recommend it. 41 minutes, straight Gordon Ramsay content.
Straight gas.
Straight gas. And just all these absolute morons. I've never understood that show. And I know a lot of it is probably like scripted, but like you have one of the best chefs in the world coming to help you build your restaurant up. And you're just sat there yelling at him. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
But you're still watching it.
Well, yeah, because I think these people are fools. I would do anything for Gordon Ramsay to come to my kitchen. Make me his pork Wellington.
That was a beef Wellington.
Beef Wellington. Damn it. I knew it was one of the two.
Yeah, you were close. I'm looking for a new TV show to watch.
There you go.
That's not really my style.
Not mine either, but you'll
You
watch
watch the Batman? You should. Everyone needs to watch the Penguin.
That's not my style.
it. No.
You don't like
The-
Batman?
No, never seen a Batman.
Do you ever watch?
That's insane.
That is crazy. But not surprising.
What am I, 12?
I would encourage you to take a 12-year-old to go and see the new Batman.
Would it not go well?
No, I'm pretty
Oh.
sure it's like,
Yeah,
it's
it's like dark.
14 rated. I was going to say, there's a new show. Do you ever watch the show Superstore?
Yeah, I've seen
They
Superstore.
just made a new one with a lot of the same cast.
Oh,
but
the
it's
St. Dennis
doctor
Medical?
one. Yeah, I'm going to wait for a few episodes to come out and
Yeah.
then watch it, but I didn't know 3 or 4 weeks in.
I've been really into Shrinking on Apple TV, but I'm all caught up.
Oh, with Jason Segel.
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking for Jason Segel content, you should watch Freaks and Geeks.
That's an old one.
old.
Dude,
but
Freaks and
old.
Geeks is elite.
Is it really good?
I have that
Yeah,
on
the cast is
DVD.
crazy.
I'll give it to you on DVD.
Yeah, I knew it was.
But they only did 2 seasons.
Doug, wait, Dexter or Narcos? I've seen Narcos.
That's
Um,
too.
Frankie,
Yeah, stop Dexter at season 4. After
Yeah.
season 4.
someone said I'm worrying them. Why? 'Cause I've never
because-
seen a Batman.
Yeah.
No, that is worrying, Tyler.
Why is that worrying?
The Christian Bale Batmans are like some of the best movies of our generation.
It is interesting, but if you know Tyler, it's the least surprising
Yeah.
thing.
I watched what's the Adam Sandler movie?
Oh.
Uncut Gems. I watched that for the first time this weekend. A little confusing.
I've never seen that one either.
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, it was.
Is he in it?
It's good. It's a bit of a grind at some points because you're like, what am I watching right now?
Yeah.
But then it gets really good. Pod and Dry, Hidden Gem, The Office with Steve Carell, unreal show.
Never heard of that.
How
Never heard
Many
of that.
Mother's another good one if you haven't seen
Yeah,
heard of
How
that
Much
one.
Mother.
Tyler Mulek, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone's really hyping up The Dark Knight. I know it's good. I don't get any enjoyment out of like that genre.
Yeah, it's not for you. I'm
It's
not going to
not.
convince you to do it because
I won't. You've known me. We've known each other for almost a decade.
We have,
So
which is crazy.
just crazy. It's almost our anniversary.
Naeem, Uncut Gems made me stop gambling for 36 hours.
Uncut Gems made me immediately go put $100 parlay on a basketball game that I did no research for.
And get a diamond guy.
Get a diamond guy. No, yeah, straight up Uncut Gems. I was like, man, betting on basketball is electric.
Is that why you placed a bet last night?
Partially, yeah, I'm really on a basketball betting thing now.
Speaking of basketball movies, before we get into the hockey talk, have you seen the other Adam Sandler one about basketball?
Hustle.
No.
It's actually
Is it good?
surprisingly good? It's got that an actual basketball player in as a main character.
He was a Raptor.
Yeah, he was a Raptor
he's
for a bit.
He's not bad. And
What was his
also
name again?
Willie Hernan Gomez.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And Bo Cruz, the cruise missile in the
Yeah,
movie.
Anthony Edwards, who's arguably the best actor in the movie.
Just playing himself.
That's my cousin, by the way, Josh. He said, Ty, you took the wrong message out of that movie. He won the bet at the end. He cashed. Sorry, no spoilers, but like he won the bet. The message is there's money to be made betting on basketball.
Depending on the cost.
Yeah, depending on the cost, I guess. Crazy you can bet on the first tip. Yeah, it's electric. Anyways, enough about that. Good 7-minute waste of the show. Frank Seravalli's gonna swing by in a little bit. Comments are great today. Frank Seravalli's gonna swing by in a little bit. We're gonna ask him about some trade stuff and whatnot. So that'll be fun. We're going to give some player grades for the forwards on the Oilers at the quarterway mark of the season. Do a little around the NHL. We got a lot to get to. Yeah, again, middle of a bye week here. What do you want us to do? The Oilers won. Everyone's feeling good. We play Utah on Friday.
Yeah, I think people have accepted the fate of what
Also,
we're at right now.
I saw someone on Twitter, this Utah fan. Also, shout out to Caleb Bagley, who is a Utah reporter who is great. Had him on DFO Live earlier in the week. But he tweeted something that a fan put out, and it was, saw a lot of Coyotes fans in the past say we really messed up letting go of JJ Moser for Mikhail Sergachev, but I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah, I should.
Who was saying that?
Find me that man.
Who was like, man, listen, I love that my favorite team got Mikhail Sergachev, but boy, no and like JJ Moser, I do think is a little underrated, but like Mikhail Sergachev, come on.
Yeah, that is a crazy thing to say.
It's wild. It's wild.
So he got the game winner, right? Yesterday?
Yeah, he did in the Sergachev Bowl is what the Chaos guys were calling it because he was playing Montreal.
Oh, yeah, he played for Montreal. Who was Jonathan Drouin? Wow, what a crazy trade that is looking back at it.
So like since the last lockout, the 2013 lockout. Okay, so the last like 10-ish years in the league.
Yeah.
Is there a worse trade than that you can think of? Sergachev for Drouin?
Forsberg for Erat.
Oh yeah, Forsberg for Erat. That's a good one.
That's the one that stands out obviously the most. Drouin.
Everybody always says the Huberdeau trade, but you can't do that.
I think
Kachuk was gonna leave.
And also too, Mackenzie Weegar's a good player.
Yeah, so
he might make Canada's roster for the Four Nations. His outside shot,
absolutely,
least, right? So that trade's not as bad as it seems. It's just everyone thinks Kachuk Huberdeau. It's not.
But he was going to leave anyway.
Yeah, and it was, again, they got Weegar and Huberdeau and a first-round pick, which they haven't used yet. It's coming up in the 2025 draft. So if the Flames wanted to, I feel like they could maybe dump Huberdeau at some point here, and you could probably get like multiple A-plus assets for Mackenzie Weegar. So I don't know. I think that one is fine. I know the Panthers won a Stanley Cup or whatever, but again, the context of like he was leaving is a Kachuk, that is. Mulick said Drouin was good at the time. I mean, yes, he had just come off a 21-goal, 53-point season. So sure. And he did have a couple of decent years, like 50-point pace with the Habs. It just fell off a cliff. So again, like we are using hindsight here, but that trade was terrible. Another one that is hilarious to look back on. Remember when everyone was losing their minds about Ben Sherratt?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was when I decided that the trade deadline and defenseman was dumb.
Yeah. So they traded him from the Canadians to the Panthers. They got Ty Smilinich, a 4th-round pick, and a conditional 1st-round pick. But if you remember, Florida got off to like a weird start the next year, and people were like, holy shit, did they just trade a lottery pick for half a season of Ben Sherratt? Because then he got that big ticket in Detroit.
That's right. That's right. Griffin Reinhart, obviously.
Honorable mention.
I don't disagree with your ham sandwich. I didn't realize the name until I was reading it. But I do find it difficult sometimes to be like, that was a bad trade because of the draft picks. Like you traded bad draft picks,
Yeah.
but like those picks could have busted as well.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Here's
players
a-
are the ones we're kind of looking at.
You know what else is kind of funny? Same fan base that is jumping right now at Griffin Reinhart trade brutal. Bunch of you seem to be pretty excited about the idea of the Oilers getting Yaremchuk.
Yeah.
And what does Columbus want? I know there's been some talk over the last bit, and we'll chat with Frank that like they've maybe or Columbus has realized they won't get a prospect. They're okay with maybe a depth defenseman and a first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not giving up a first round pick for David Yaremchuk, but again, that's probably a conversation I have with Frank.
I think I'm very out on him. I think back to when we had Bruce Kurlock on the show a few weeks ago, and when he tweeted us, he went against his heel turn. I've actually labeled it as. And
also Bruce Kurlock was going at me on Twitter the other day
again?
when I said I liked Mike Matheson, and he replied and was like, "I thought Yaremchuk was your favorite." It's like,
Okay.
holy Bruce.
I think that David Yaremchuk is a good player and will be a good player in this league. But I liked what Bruce said of like, do you really want your right side to be Bouchard, Yaremchuk, and Ty Emerson? Like, you probably need like a tad bit more experience there. And clearly, Yaremchuk doesn't want to come in and be a seventh guy because that's obviously already he's arguably the eighth guy, I guess.
Yep. Okay, Mulick had a good answer to the trade thing. Also, basically all the trades before the Vegas expansion draft.
The Marchessault one.
Well, so there's a bunch of just doozies in here. Florida gave Vegas Riley Smith so that Vegas would select Jonathan Marchessault
That's right. Instead of
Mike Matheson, which at the time, because then remember Matheson was like untradeable for a bit. He was brutal, but there was that group of defensemen in Florida, and Vegas was like, "You please don't take them." Or sorry, Florida was like, "Please don't take them. You can go ahead and have whoever." Who did they end up protecting? Oh, Mark Pysyk was the other one. Pysyk, Yandel, it wasn't Matheson. It was Ekblad, Petrovic, Pysyk, and Yandel.
Petrovic.
That was the group they wanted to protect. And they traded both Riley Smith and Jonathan Marchessault for it. That one was insane.
There was another terrible one, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was
William Carlson. I know they took
the Ducks traded Shea Theodore.
Oh my god!
So that Vegas would select Clayton Stoner, and that's because
like Cam Fowler, Lindholm,
and Kevin Bieksa refused to waive, and then he went on to just retire like right after that. So they had to protect Bieksa, and they ended up trading Shea Theodore so that they would select whoever it was there, Clayton Stoner, because they wanted to get out of Stoner's money.
You do wonder. That draft, obviously, when was the expansion before
2017.
That? No, before Vegas, like Nashville. And
yeah,
stuff,
it was
right?
Nashville and
So
Columbus.
it's been so long, but that expansion draft totally screwed the Seattle Kraken.
Oh, yeah. So
they did not get any close to any kind of value.
How about Columbus going to Vegas and saying, we will give you a first-round pick and a second-round pick and David Clarkson's money. So there was that as well. And you guys have to take William Karlsson.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was
hilarious. Pittsburgh gave Vegas a second-round pick so that they would take Marc-Andre Fleury. Crazy.
Oh, yeah, because they had Matt Murray. That kind of made sense a little bit.
But again, a second-round pick for Marc-Andre Fleury, then he wins a Vezina in Vegas.
Trade him for a seventh.
Also, the Minnesota Wild told Vegas, take Alex Tuck. Or we'll give you Alex Tuck if you agree to take Eric Holla.
Which ended up being
great.
Jack Eichel.
Which ended up turning into Jack Eichel in a way, correct? Some of these are, again, just absolutely banana stuff. Winnipeg traded a first and a third so that Vegas would take Chris Thorburn. I don't know who they were trying to protect, though, but they clearly wanted to protect someone. So,
well, they would have had like Blake Wheeler, Scheifele.
Ooh, you want to play a fun game?
Is it who did the Oilers protect?
Yeah, can you name me the 11 players the Oilers protected?
So, yeah.
Remember, like McDavid, that's your hint. McDavid didn't need to be protected.
Yeah, it was like, so Mike Smith, right?
No.
Miko?
No.
Was it Skinner?
Dadbot. Talbot.
Oh, Talbot still around.
Talbot was the goalie. The 3 D-men?
Clefbaum.
1.
Lawson.
2.
Sexy Reg.
3. And then the forwards. 7 forwards.
Cassian.
Yeah.
Was Jujak Kara one?
No.
Okay, but he was on the
They
team,
left him out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was because Vegas had to choose between Kara or Griffin Reinhart.
Milan Lucic was on the team, right?
Yeah,
So he
5
would've
more.
been on that. Oh my goodness.
Nuge.
Yeah, Nuge. I can't even think. Who
Um,
have we got? Nuge. Who's on the team?
who else is on the team? man?
They did have to protect Draisaitl.
Okay. Sorry, I
Ebbs.
thought you said they didn't.
Ebbs,
Eberle, of course.
Maroon and Letetsu.
I was curious. I
Testu,
was going to say Letestu, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Like back in it, they probably should have just protected Juju.
All right.
But you know what? They did end up
Well,
getting
they kept Jujar.
Matthias Ekholm from Keepins at Cassian because they traded him to Arizona.
But they didn't get picks for that. They had to give up picks for that.
Oh no,
There's
right?
no
of
trade
course.
fee there.
No, but they drafted Reed Schaefer, who they then traded
Back to draft Reed Schaefer, who then, I kind of get where you're going with that.
Ben Scrivens.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben Scrivens, I guess. Okay. So it is day 4 of no Oilers hockey. They don't play until Friday. We are relatively bored, which is why we just spent 8 minutes talking about the expansion draft in 2017. Thankfully, we have a savior, and he joins us on the Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about them and everything they do at starmechanical.ca. As we welcome in our daily face-off insider, Frank Seravalli. We were just reminiscing about some of the crazy trades made in the Vegas expansion draft. That was wild.
I lived it. I was reporting and kind of in on a lot of the discussions leading up to it. And you know what one stands out the most? And you can actually trace their franchise arc decline is the Anaheim Ducks.
Oh, yeah.
Shea Theodore.
Well, Shea Theodore is just one part of it. You have to remember they also traded Brandon Montour, who looked unbelievable in that time as a skater. They traded him to Buffalo, and they did all of that to protect.
It's because Bieksa wouldn't waive his no move.
Well, but they also wanted to protect Cam Fowler.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point being, when you go moving out top 4 defensemen like that, big trouble.
It's just funny to look back on, and you just made the point that it kind of screwed Seattle because everyone learned their lesson. But the amount of teams when you go through it who were so scared about losing one good player that they tricked themselves into just losing 2 or 3 good assets, it was insane.
Yeah, I'm just looking through at some of the other ones. I mean, obviously everyone points right to Riley Smith and Jonathan Marchessault with Florida.
Yeah.
And that was amazing because the Panthers GM at the time, Dale Talon, had just made a determination these guys are no good.
And look at him now, yeah. Marchessault.
Crazy.
Nice. Yeah.
Even
40
Smith,
plus.
who's kind of toward the end of his career now, he had such an incredibly productive run. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some of the stuff that's percolating around the league right now, including David Yaremchuk. It feels like we just keep on kind of waiting for something to happen. I found it interesting, actually, that Rob Rossi on our show DFO Live basically said, Don Waddell said no to whatever prospect the Penguins have. Dubas said, pick one. Waddell said, none of them interest me. And in my brain, because I'm always thinking Oilers, I heard that and went, okay, if they didn't want Rutger McGroarty or anyone in Pittsburgh system, there's no one Edmonton has to make this work. That was the moment. Yaremchuk's not a fit here, right?
I don't think so for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. Here's the only thing that's interesting is, and this is part of the reason why I believe this has taken so long over the last couple days, is I think a few teams have gone back and said, you know what? Okay, if this player doesn't interest you specifically, or maybe interests you but isn't enough, and I'm going to use the Pittsburgh example as one, if Rutger McGroarty alone is not a 1-for-1 fit for David Yaremchuk, is there a package that we could put together that would get you, can it get us over the finish line? And that's sort of along the lines of what I think a few of these other teams that have been kind of on the outside looking in at it. I think the Flyers are in that same situation. I think a team like the Sabres has been in the mix. Certain teams that even have young pieces and players, take Vancouver, they've got a few intriguing players that they could move that they've basically said, we're drawing the line right here. We could give you X, but we're not going to give you Y. And they're just you know what? We're out. So I just don't see Edmonton really having that type of package to put together as much as it would have been a nice thing to really bridge that gap from Broberg to now Broberg on steroids.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I said when it first popped up. Is like, is this maybe your do-over for Broberg? But I do think the cost is too high. And again, it reflects where the Oilers are at. Like, I know there's talk, could Columbus just, be looking for picks, maybe start with a first-round pick and go from there. But if you're Edmonton, like, you got to save that first-round pick for a bigger swing. Like, if you're going to give your first to Columbus, it's for Provorov, not for Yaremchuk, because it's about winning right now.
Correct. And that's the thing. I think 2 years time, Yaremchuk is going to help you win now, but not exactly this season. So can you withstand that? Is that how you want to manage like the ultra super prime years of the Connor McDavid experience? Probably not how I would want to do it, but I think that's really the tough part of the gig, is to really have a sustained run of 10, 11, 12 years with an authentic chance to win. You have to have your eye on both those things at the same time if you're a GM.
Yeah, which that is something we saw the Oilers do earlier in the summer, making the McLeod for Savoy trade, right? It was like, okay, Ryan McLeod will help you win next year way more, but let's bite the bullet. We got Henrique. Let's bring in a guy who could maybe be a value deal for the next 3 to 5 seasons. So we have seen the Oilers make a swing in that direction over the last, whatever it would be now, 5 months. Moving outside of Edmonton a little bit, the Oilers beat the Rangers 6-2 on Saturday. And man, for a team that's record looks good, there is so much panic in New York right now. How much of it is just message sending and how much of it is, no, they're actually interested in moving out some big names?
I think it's a healthy amount of both. Look, Chris Kreider was out there today and addressed the trade talk, and it's not rumor, because we know now that Chris Drury, their GM, sent out a memo to all 31 other teams and said, basically, I'm open for business. I'm willing to shake things up. And 2 of the names that were specifically mentioned were Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba. And Kreider's response is sort of like, hey, let's get this out in the open now. Let's figure this team out and let's figure out where we're going, and let's handle this in November as opposed to trying to go through this in January or February leading up to the deadline. And so there's that sort of motivational part of this, which obviously message received. But I do think there's an authentic push from the Rangers front office that feels like, hey, what we're doing isn't working. The record may be fine, but an eye test thing, it's different. You watch that team play and you see how, I don't want to say listless, but there have been moments this year that they've been lifeless, and they've also relied way too heavily on their goaltender to bail them out. And so that's this part of this year is the eye test. Then you go back to the results part of last year, and they just, when you fall short to Florida in the conference final and you don't really, it's not that they didn't make it a series, but they never really seemed to be a threat to win. That, okay, you're not good enough then. Now these guys are another year older. You've got contract decisions to make. You've got, how are we going to chart the path forward for this team? That I think they're just arriving at this conversation at an earlier, and I would argue probably more healthy time and place to do it, to Chris Kreider's point.
You mentioned on your show the other day too, Josh Norris is likely on the move, or out there at least. Could you see Ottawa moving some other guys too that maybe we wouldn't expect?
So that's kind of the problem, Liam, is that at the end of the day, the Sens, I believe, are willing to shake things up and do it a little bit differently. This core has been together really kind of for a while now, and they're not seeing results. It feels like even though this team had a better start this year, they're off to kind of a disastrous November. They're wrapping one up, at least 4-7-1 this month. And it's really plummeted their chances to make the playoffs. How many years in a row can we do the same thing with the same core and try and expect a different result? And so teams are calling, you mentioned some unexpected guys, and I don't know that they are unexpected players to get calls on, but Ridley Gregg is a big one, and the other one is Shane Pinto. And so teams are calling and asking for those guys to do some kind of forward swap to change up their own mix too. I think the Flyers are one of the teams that had been calling about those players. And the response has been, well, no, we're not trading Greg or Pinto, but can we interest you in Shane or Josh Norris? So too many names in my head. And so the answer from teams is like, hey, Josh Norris was a really good player in this league. 35 goals as a 22-year-old. Like, that's a center that you could potentially build a team around as the sort of perfect ideal 2C. But his shoulder has essentially been like a mashed potato for the last, I don't know, 3 seasons now, for lack of a better term. And he's missed so many games. Like, we're in the hundreds of games now, 100 plus games with that shoulder, that with the term left on his deal and the real cash, it's like $47 million. It's a really tough sell to teams for a guy that has been good this year, but not otherwise lighting the world on fire. And if he was, then the Sens probably would just be keeping him.
They'd probably be winning more games too.
Yeah.
My new team that I just link everyone to, Utah. They got picks, they got money. Why would they not want to add a skill guy like Josh Norris? Throw him next to Dylan Guenther? Woo!
Term, dollars. Why get locked into the commitment if you don't need to?
Yeah, that's fair.
Why guys stay single forever?
Do we want to unpack that? I mean,
I don't think so. I mean, this would be the week to do it, but yeah.
No, he's right. No, he's right.
The other one I had for you, obviously, we love our boy Bob Stauffer, and he keeps hinting that, like, hey, there's teams out there and there's players out there that we're not hearing about right now that the Oilers could be looking at to make a move with on the blue line. Is that maybe a signal that, again, the Oilers aren't looking to do anything imminent? Like, they're watching a bunch of different areas, but not actually serious about like doing something before Christmas?
Well, I think it depends on what this looks like in another week or 10 days. Like, they might be pushed into doing something because you can't, like, you have to start to pull away from the pack, meaning you have to, like, and I'd say the last couple weeks have been better, but still not to the point that people stop sweating a little bit. Am I wrong in saying that? Like, you need to create a little bit of separation between yourself and your opponents, go on a little bit of a run, because if at any point, you know, getting closer to Christmas in mid-December, you're still in the spot that you're in the standings, and you're kind of in that somewhere between 7 to 10 range in the West, unacceptable. And like, cannot be flirting with, you know, are we going to make or miss the playoffs this year based on at some point somewhere, someone getting hurt. It's just not, it's not an acceptable reality. And so I do think there's a world in which the Oilers could be pushed into making a move earlier. I think at this juncture, though, they'd really prefer to try and be patient and let things play out, let the market sort itself out a bit. And even though that said, I'm still not entirely convinced that we're going to see these, like, all of a sudden shocking new names materialize. Like, I love Bob to death. And I think it's an amazing thing that he's sort of been able to cultivate in your market, where he says or drops hints and all of a sudden it's like, you know, crumbs for everyone to pick up and try and piece together. And obviously he's in the know, but I'm reading the market on a daily basis and talking to teams about, you know, I have a whole list of guys upstairs in my office that are not currently on my trade board, but probably will be by March. I'm not seeing anything, at least at this current juncture, where, you know, you're seeing something that could materialize that hasn't yet.
Yeah. And the other thing too, like the chat right now, as soon as we started talking about the Bob thing, they are going nuts. It's Bowen Byram. It's Bowen Byram. But the problem with where the Oilers are at is, like, I'm not sure if they can deal with anyone but pure true sellers. Like, Buffalo's going to want a young piece back. They want to win now. They need to make the playoffs. Kevin Adams can't take 2 second-round picks for a guy. Like, who Edmonton can deal with is basically teams who are willing to accept mid-round picks.
Well, I mean, look, I think, yes, in a way, you just described in a nutshell the biggest problem with the NHL trade market in general. We don't see, and to use Byram as an example, we almost never see Byram for Middlestat ever. It's almost always, hey, I've got a piece that can help you win now. And the reason why that team isn't trading with another team that's in the same mode is because no one wants to give up what they currently have. It's a reason why, you know, God bless them for getting back in the playoffs, but the Buffalo Sabres haven't made a trade to this point because they don't want to really give up on anyone too soon. The last thing they want is to get through this season and find out, oh my God, that guy just exploded for an unbelievable year and he could have been with us had we just been a little bit more patient. I think at some point you have to put a stake in the ground and make a decision. And I think the same goes for the Sabres, the Sens, the Red Wings, the Ducks, like all the Preds, all these teams that are kind of, stuck right in this spot right now that they feel a bit uncomfortable in. But for the most part, that's why the NHL trade deadline operates like it does. It's almost formulaic, which is why you end up with some really annoying conversations, if this makes any sense. Everyone had forever, they started the season asking questions about Rasmus Andersson. Well, why is that? Because he checked some of the formulaic boxes. Player on an expected to be bad team with a really good contract, who's a good player that has a little bit of term left. Oh, wait, his value is rising. Let's just put him on a trade board, even though he doesn't belong being there, because the Flames don't have any authentic interest in moving him.
Do you have another one? Because I had a question about that and the Calgary Flames. Like, how much have they changed your view of the Western Conference playoff picture, or are you still of the belief that they'll come back to earth at some point?
I've lost that belief that they'll come back to earth. I thought we were seeing it in real time when they started 5-0-1 or something like that, and then quickly became 5-5 in short order. And since they were able to create some separation with themselves in the standings with a great month of November, it's a few things. It's goaltending, and there's an energy and a vibe around that team that I think has been infectious to this point, that as that snowball continues to roll downhill, it only gets stronger and stronger. I think the Flames are a legitimate and authentic threat to make the playoffs. And they're a team that, can you replay this clip in March or April and make me look foolish? I had an executive in the league reach out to me the other day after I said it on the rundown, and he said, dude, are you sure that the Flames aren't this year's Flyers from last year? Team that exceeded expectations, went through the entire year, and then absolutely folded like a cheap tent in a soft wind in March and just kind of fell apart. Is it possible? I guess, if their goaltending isn't as good, or they kind of really can't score less than they are, if that makes any sense. 18 straight games without scoring 4 in regulation. I don't know. I just think the longer this goes on, I've changed my playoff window or viewpoint, really, because I have Utah out. I picked Utah to make it at the beginning of the year. That's not happening with their current defense structure. And now what will the rest of it look like?
Calgary's such an interesting team.
Which Flames Nation employee is watching our show right now and making this comment?
I think with Calgary, they just have so much.
It was Princey. Oh, I'm sorry. Too soon.
Frank. I think with the Flames, they almost have like too much experience and character to like fall up back that far. I don't even know if I can ask my question now.
I'm thrown off.
Well, yesterday, was it on an O&R? We were like, you gave me the Flames odds to make the playoffs and the Predators odds to make the
Basically
playoffs.
the exact same.
Yeah, I think the Flames were 200, right? Or was it flipped?
Flames were plus 170, Preds were 200.
I don't even think those two teams should be close to each other, to be honest.
In what way?
Like, I think Calgary has clearly got like such a better mojo about them that I just believe that they're going to be able to kind of carry it on. They might scrape in as the 8th seed, and they might fall out of a playoff picture at some point in this season and be like the 9th or 10th seed in the West. But I think they'll always be in the battle. I really just don't get that feeling at all in Nashville.
Dude, I agree. And you verbalized it probably better than I could, because first off, it's a math problem. Like at 12, 7, and 3 or whatever they have, that's like, you really need a team to go on a run and for them to lose a ton of games in a row for them to kind of fall out of it. That's just that's why Thanksgiving is such an important, U.S. Thanksgiving is such an important waypoint in the season, because it surely becomes a math equation at that point. How many points do the Calgary Flames need to milk between now and the end of the season to get to that sort of 92 point threshold? They're 63 points away or 66 points away, something like that. 65 points away. They've got oh my God, don't do math live. They've got 60 games left to get 65 points. Like, it's probably a pretty good equation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
What
especially
odds?
I do think that this year, just looking like last year, Dallas was 113, Winnipeg was 110, Colorado was 107, and even like Vancouver at 109. I think there's more parity this year.
Yeah.
And I do think the number to get in won't be 98. I think, like you kind of hinted at there, Frank, I think the number is going to be closer to the low 90s, which again, one will actually make for a good race, which I love, but could also complicate the trade market, which I don't love, because if there's a bunch of teams who were right there, they might not want to sell off that second pair right shot defenseman.
It's statistically, it's like a 94-point barrier to entry. Like, if you get 95 over the last 20 years, you're almost guaranteed in. And I will say the other thing, Liam, that you hit on that I wanted to just like nod along and approve was, if they were going to fall apart in Calgary, they would have already done so, I think.
That's fair. We are at that point now where it's like, okay, it's no longer just a fluke, like quarter part more of the season. Yeah. Frank, American Thanksgiving this week. Hope you and your family enjoy some downtime. Hope you enjoy some downtime. New episode of the DFO Rundown is going to drop tomorrow for anyone who wants to hear a little bit more about the trade market and new trade targets, right?
New trade targets, and also today, new Frankly Speaking with Blackhawks GM Kyle Davidson. I just asked the question, so you want to become an NHL GM? Kyle Davidson never played. He had he was born with a congenital heart defect, so couldn't play as a kid. How do you get from there to becoming one of the youngest GMs in the NHL at age 33 through just internships and a really unique path? So that conversation is basically his career arc from start to where he is now, and hopefully instructive for anyone that wants to get in the game.
Yeah, really good. It's out now on the Daily Faceoff YouTube, where it's premiering in 23 minutes, maybe, actually, is the right way I needed to promote that. Frank, enjoy the weekend, man. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll chat with you next week.
Thanks. See you guys.
There you go. Frank Seravalli on the Star Mechanical Guest Line, or as the chat has now called it, the Frank Mechanical Guest Line. I love that. Yeah, shout out to Frank. I like too that when we have him on there, he like outlines like the process of making a trade and how difficult it is. Because I do think we're guilty of it. The chat's guilty of it a lot of times. We kind of just sit there and are like, oh, just do this. This team will take this. But like everyone throwing Bowen Byram, like Buffalo's not just saying, here's Bowen Byram. Yeah, second round pick or your first rounder next year. Yep. I like the value. Like that's NHL be a GME kind of trades, right?
Yeah. It's the NHL is very much like fantasy football.
Yeah.
You don't want to trade with teams that you're probably competing with, and the teams at the bottom of the standings want way too much for their players.
How's your fantasy football leagues going this year?
I'm 6-6, and I'm the second highest scoring team in the league, so it's fine. I have a really good team. I was going to say, too, on the trade front, and I wrote about this last year, and it might be difficult for me to explain, but like the top prospects in organizations very, very rarely get traded.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you go back and look through,
look at the Jake Gensel deal last year.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think a good one I always like to point to is the Timo Meier trade. There was a lot of pieces in that trade, but obviously the big piece coming from New Jersey to San Jose was I should have picked a different one.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
No, it wasn't him. What's that defense?
Shakir Mukhamadullin.
Shakir Mukhamadullin. They had Luke Hughes already. Simon Nemec. You can expose a player like that. Like you don't need that guy anymore.
Yeah.
He's a first round pick, and the value is obviously there, but the value is not there for New Jersey because
Yeah.
we have these two other guys. Timo Meier is going to bring more. It's like I think when you look through, it's like the Oilers aren't going to trade Matt Savoy. Sam O'Reilly's probably on the table because he's their second best prospect.
I don't think they would trade Sam O'Reilly either.
But like he's more likely to get traded than him. And like, would they trade Boeke? Maybe because like Max Warner's got a lot of potential, but like the Oilers just like don't have those prospects to fight with other teams.
I think you kind of want to keep two at each position. I think you want to keep two good forwards in your system at all time, like minimum. Like I think most teams would probably say, no, we'd like to keep 3 to 4. But like if you're the Oilers, I think O'Reilly and Savoy are untouchable because you need to, in the next 3 years, have those two guys on cheap contracts playing in your top 9. And it's a lesson this organization has to learn, quite frankly, because they didn't learn it with Dylan Holloway. And on the blue line, they didn't learn it with Philip Broberg. But same thing, like I think at some point next season, you're looking at Max Warner coming up on the right side.
Who is the third best forward prospect?
Oh my God, what a terrible question.
I mean, the immediate jump would be Noah Philp.
No,
And
he's 26. He's not a prospect.
Agreed. He's technically a prospect in a way, but like not an upcoming guy. You're gonna get him on that cheap deal. Like the third one, it must be someone they drafted.
William Nickel has been doing good stuff in the O this year.
Yeah, but he's also 20.
He's 18. Dalen Wakely's 20.
I always get those two mixed up.
Maxim Berezkin is doing decent stuff in Russia.
Sean Gerventi. Yeah, he's
not a prospect.
He's only 22. But still, that's the thing. Like, you're kind of picking up straws, aren't you? So it's going to be very difficult for the Oilers to make a trade, especially with someone like Bowen Byram, who Buffalo just traded Middlestead for. Like, young player. They're probably going to want something like that in return. Who are you going to trade? Ryan McLeod? Damn it, should have saved that bullet.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep cruising along with the show today. Appreciate Frank popping on for a little bit. Do you want to do a little Sherwood Ford Giant question?
I'd love to.
Brought to you by friends at Sherwood Ford, the Giant hockey fans helping hockey fans take advantage of the Nation Valet service. Never visit the dealership again for your car service. Plus, get $500 towards a service plan for all Nation citizens when you purchase a vehicle with Sherwood Ford, the Giant. Okay, up at Oilersnation.com right now. We got player report cards at the quarterway mark from our boy Coombsy. We're going to break this up throughout the rest of the week, actually, for the next couple of days here. Today, I wanted to zero in it, and we'll work pretty quickly through a lot of these guys, but we'll see how many guys were on the same page as, how many were not. But player grades at the quarterway mark for the forwards on the Edmonton Oilers. Let's start with... I'll just go daily face-off lines starting in the top left. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Liam, where would you grade one Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for his first 25% of the season?
This is probably a C minus.
I was going to say D minus.
The only reason I kind of brought it up a little bit is because he's been part of that penalty kill that has been getting better recently. But his offense just isn't there, and the power play hasn't been good.
So
C minus is very
generous. With the penalty kill, 10% of the season's been god awful. 10% of the season's been good.
I thought C minus was fair, right in the middle.
I'm gonna go
way better.
I'm gonna go D minus. He's got to be so much better. And again, he wears a lot of hats. I like the point Rick made on Owen Radio yesterday when he was like, "Hey, like he kills. He's on the power play, and he's playing big 5-on-5 minutes. Like at some point, you have to give him a break."
Does he have a big goal?
No.
Does he have a big moment?
No. D minus. I think even D minus might be generous, man.
Yeah, so a lot of people put F.
Yeah,
F plus.
He's on pace for like 8 goals and 36 points. Like it's brutal, man. So they need a lot more from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I'll give him a D minus. Connor McDavid down the middle.
A plus. I mean,
28 points in 19 games. Are you grading him off of compared to the rest of the team or expectations? Because
rest of the team. It's been nice. It's been basically him and Draisaitl the reason the Oilers are in games. I think it's hard to. Obviously the start of the season wasn't great, but he still had 8 points in 10 games.
Yeah, 28 points in 19 games now, 11 goals in that stretch, a 1.47 points per game, which again over 82 games grades you out to like 121 or something like that. Not that I'm great at doing math. 22 of those points at 5-on-5, though. I do like that. I'm going to keep a little bit of his expectations in this, and Pud Golson just said it in the chat. Power play struggles. McDavid's going to wear some of that for me. Sluggish start out of the gate. You're the captain. McDavid's going to wear a little bit of that for me. So I'm going to give him an A minus. Like again, he's still Connor McDavid. He's great, but there's a couple of points where he's not getting an A plus on his full report card. Right wing on the top line, it's
Sperry Kapanen.
Oh no, we'll just put Hyman there. What's your grade for Hyman, who's now missed 2 games with an injury?
Maybe the same as Nuge, C minus. Feel like he needs to be better as well, but he obviously has like hit a lot of posts, hasn't goals disallowed. Like he's had those chances, injuries as well. So C minus seems fair.
I gave Nuge a D minus. I'll give Hyman a C minus because like again, you need to produce, you need to be better.
Yeah.
And he's not a guy who does like a ton of heavy lifting on the PK or anything like that, right?
Very rarely.
He's doing a lot of things right. He's getting chances. He's getting looks. His expected goals is very high. But also, you're a top 6 forward on this team. You have to produce. So I knock him for that, but I give him more credit than Nuge because he's been in the mix more.
Yeah. What's his expected goals? Like I don't even know what it is. It's higher than his goals. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, it definitely is. But anyways, I'll go a little bit higher. I really now want to find out his individual
I think
expected
it's
goals.
9.
I'm in.
Because at one point he had like 5 or 6, and he hadn't had a goal, and now I think he has 3 goals.
Yeah, individual expected goals 9.14. So again, if he was doing that, he'd be on pace for 36 goals, which is usually where I think Zach Hyman should be on an average year. He's got to be better. He's got to bury some chances. Vasily Podkolzin.
This is an interesting one.
Very interesting. I don't want to be on as hard on him for not producing as Nuge and Hyman.
Because the expectations were hopefully he can make the team.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna say B plus.
I'm gonna go B minus because when you spend 15 to 20% of the season now with Leon Draisaitl and you have 1 goal to show for it,
it needs to be better.
It needs to be better, but I like the energy. He dropped the gloves once. He does good things on the forecheck. The coaching staff clearly likes him. I'll go B minus.
I think he's just been very consistent. Good call. Honestly, like he's been the Oilers outside of Draisaitl and McDavid.
He's been consistent.
He's been the 3rd most consistent forward.
Yeah.
So
I think B minus is fair.
Yeah, B minus right around. there.
Leon Draisaitl down the middle. To me, Leon's at an A plus.
Yeah, he's the same as
Like
McDavid.
right.
I changed my pick. McDavid's an A. I'll give Leon an A plus because he stepped up when McDavid was gone too.
Yeah.
So give him a bit of credit.
Not
for
the
that.
stepfather. He's the father that stepped up.
Yes,
That's Leon Draisaitl.
that's my Leon.
That's my Leon Draisaitl. 16 goals. Again, he's having a ridiculous season. Does he hit 50 this year? I'd love to see it. He's not even shooting for his standards. For every other NHL player, 26% is crazy. For Draisaitl, it's like only a little crazy. Like the idea that he can shoot 22+% in a season, he's done it before. So I'll give Leon Draisaitl an A plus this season. Let's go to the right side, Connor Brown.
Oh,
I like Brownie.
B minus, C plus, somewhere in that range. I don't know, maybe B minus.
Shooting 7% is on pace for 12 goals and 7, 14, 21, 28 points.
The other day, had 2 assists in that Rangers game, did well. Yeah, maybe B is more fair for him. B minus somewhere in there.
I'm gonna go again.
Kill though, same as Nuge.
But can I give you this in comparison to Podkolzin?
He scored 3 goals.
Scored 3 goals. Less time with Leon Draisaitl. Also on the penalty kill.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, he's had a great season.
12 goals on the 3rd line for $1 million is legit.
Yeah, B plus.
Yeah, I go B plus. Connor Brown. I'll agree with you on that one. Going to the 3rd line. Here's an interesting one. Jeff Skinner.
I mean, it's hard to give him too much credit, I guess, because when he's been in his spots, he's done all right, but he's not been in those spots very often. I think C minus is maybe C.
I'll go.
No, I think C minus. He's been demoted too much. And he's lost trust from the coach. That he, based off expectations, he should have been the one next to Podkolzin. Maybe I'll even go D plus.
D plus?
Yeah, D plus. I think he should be way better than he is. Although his production at 5-5 is not awful.
4 5-on-5 goals already this year.
Oh, I know, but he's also playing on the 3rd line, averaging 13 minutes.
I'll give him a C.
Yeah, I think
because I do think he deserves to be knocked a bit for his lack of give a shit effort in the D zone, attention to detail, all the stuff that has Chris Knobloch pushing him down the lineup.
Yeah.
But at the same time, on pace for 16 goals, which is not good. Like we expected Jeff Skinner to be on pace for 30 goals, not 16. So he's got to double up his production here is kind of what I'm saying. But not all of that is on him. So I don't want to go C minus D. I give him a C. He needs to be better, but I do think he needs more opportunity. Adam Henrique, 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points so far this season. All 6 points at even strength. Again, expecting a production fall off coming over from Anaheim because he doesn't get top 6 minutes as often. He's not getting any power play time. Adam Henrique's been decent in the dot, shooting 5.7%. I do think he is a guy who the expected goals should start to come a little bit. Same expected goals at all strengths as Zach Hyman at all strengths. So without the power play bump, I think Rico is going to start scoring at some point. I've actually liked his game for some decent stretches this year, even though he's quieter than I had hoped for. I think Rico at some point has a good 40-game stretch this year, whether it's from now until game 60 or game 40 till the end of the year or the end of the year into the playoffs. I think at some point he heats up and he's good enough to heat up. I agree, like Brian, he's invisible in some games. Sure, but he's also your 3rd line center, so that's okay. I want to see more, but I'm happy, so I go B minus, which I know is weird for a guy that's on pace for 8 goals. But again, we gave Hyman the benefit of the doubt a little bit on expected goals for. I'll give Henrique, who's not quite paid to produce that same benefit of the doubt. I'm B- on Rico. I think he does good things.
I'm C- on him. I think he was at a really bad start to the season. He had 1 point in October, and in November he's been much better recently. So maybe I'll go C, but he's part of that penalty kill as well. Didn't really do a lot. So I think C is good for him.
All right, we're on to the right side now, and our boy Matthias Janmark, 9 even strength points, 10 points on the year, only the 1 goal, but he's been a dish master. 6th on the Oilers in points, tied for 4th on the Oilers in points. Matthias Janmark gets a solid A for me. I don't know, like, what else do you want from him? Like, again, he's made some awful mistakes.
Yeah,
but at a time when a bunch of guys aren't producing, he finds a way to get you 10 points.
Yeah, he's done well. There's obviously been those moments where he just brain farts and costing some goals in moments. I'm going to go B+, I guess. It's hard for a guy that's mostly played bottom 6 to be as good as he has been last few weeks at 5-on-5. I'll go B+.
All right, so now we are on to the 4th line. Derek Ryan. There we go. D-. I'll just say that right there.
Yeah, D.
He hasn't scored?
No, he had that one disallowed, which would actually been a sick goal.
So, hasn't scored. Has basically been taken off the penalty kill because he's so ineffective.
F.
I'm fine with F. Good?
Did you write that down? I thought you were writing down right now. Yeah, that's good. Okay, who else have we got?
Corey Perry.
Corey Perry. B+.
That's words out of my mouth.
Like, he's been pretty solid. 4 goals, obviously. We criticize his contract, and I still don't think it's good by any means.
But he's backing it up. Like,
producing.
He's on pace for 16 goals. If you get
solid.
16 goals for $1.15 million, even with the bonuses and all that, thrilled.
That's what kind of makes this start of the season annoying, is that the Oilers have got value from a certain player's contracts, right? Like Janmark, Brown, Perry, and Podkolzin have all been pretty solid.
Yeah.
And they all make, what's that combined? Maybe like 6 million? Less than 6 million?
Yep. The one thing I'd say with Perry, I don't think he's going to stay this productive. I think older guy, as the year goes on, he'll go through some rough stretches. If you said his over-under at 15, I'm taking his under, but that doesn't take away from the fact he's been really good through 20 games.
If you had told me at the start of the season Perry was getting 10 to 15 goals, somewhere in that range, I would have snapped your hands off. Would have been awesome.
Okay. I think we're kind of good on the rest of the... Oh, yeah, Victor Arvidsson, who's hurt right now.
C.
D+. He's been okay when in the lineup, but he's hurt. But also, that was a knock on him, is staying healthy. 5 points in 16 games isn't good. 2 goals in that stretch, not good. He's one of those guys, though. 3.6 expected goals. I mean, even that wouldn't be that good, though. Like, I don't know.
No.
D. I'm going to go D. I'm going to move down from D+. I'm going to say D. Play. Best abilities, availability, Liam.
It's true. C- at best. Drake
Yeah.
Kajula, A.
Vibes alone, yes.
I actually would love him to stay on the team. I do love what he brings. I know he's not like the best player in the world.
If you had to choose him or Kapanen.
Oh, Kapanen.
Yeah, see, and that's
sure.
There you go.
But if I'm picking Kajula, wasn't Kajula a sentiment at some point? I wouldn't play him right now, but that did happen, right?
I think so. These would be my forward lines if everyone was healthy. This is what I would do.
Kane or not including?
Not including Kane.
Okay.
McDavid, Skinner, Hyman.
Yes.
Boom. Draisaitl, Podkolzin, Arvidsson.
Okay.
Nuge, Brown, Henrique.
Nuge, Brown. Okay.
Janmark, Perry, Noah, Philp.
So Philp down the middle.
Yeah. Kapanen's my extra guy, or he's stashed in Bako.
You
Assuming
could
he'd
probably
clear.
make him your extra guy, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that.
I think Janmark, Philp, and Corey Perry actually does a lot for you and can score, and Philp gives you at least some speed.
Well, we saw it similar with Kajula when those 3 played together. It's not like too different. I guess Kajula's maybe a bit quicker, but yeah, it looked solid.
Yep.
I don't hate it.
And again, Podkolzin can stay with Draisaitl and Arvidsson. I don't mind that line.
Yeah.
Nuge, Rico, Connor Brown. I think there's enough skill there that they could do something, and I think you can trust them anywhere. And then McDavid, Skinner, Hyman, like no D zone starts, like just gas, straight gas, baby. They score and they're chaos at all ends, but they score.
Yeah, I love that. They'll outscore their problems. Who cares?
Yeah. McSorley is in. I'd play Capo. His experience is priceless. What experience?
Kapanen?
Yeah, just
Yeah, I think there's a bit of he's played a lot of NHL games,
Yeah.
but I think there's a misconception with him. Like he wasn't on those Pittsburgh teams that went on those runs. He was traded for Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
So his dad was drafted in Edmonton, though.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Okay, a couple more things for us to get to. First off, YouTube chat, Odd Company Brewing, brought to you by Nation Beer and our new friends at Odd Company Lager. Love teaming up with them. 2 locations in Edmonton, by the way, Ritchie location or the downtown spot. It is our everyday lager, a crisp, clean lager crafted for game day and every day. You know what is a great time to enjoy this bad boy? Post beer league game. It's a great beer. You're sweaty, you're hot, you get into the room. Nice cold Nation beer. Delicious. Maybe I'll bring some for the boys. Me and my beer league team have a 10:30 start tonight.
Oh,
and I know what you're thinking. 10:30, that sucks. And beer league players will know this. When you look at your schedule and you see 10:30 Glengarry on there, you dread the night. You're like, Glengarry's a shithole.
Is that the? Oh no, the Garrison is the thing.
The Army base. That's where we usually play. Is out at the Garrison.
Why is it called Glendale?
Glengarry.
Glengarry. I've never been to that rink ever. Does anyone play out there? Or is it just men's league?
No. I think like minor hockey teams and stuff will play there. The rooms, though, it's one of those like old rinks from like before 2000, right? So like the rooms are like the dressing room's like the size of this. Which one you'll take it at 10:30 because that usually means there's only 10 guys showing up for your game.
Yeah.
So like the small room gets offset a little bit, but like if there's more than 10 grown adults in that room, it's the worst experience ever. The showers suck. Brutal.
My buddies. Sometimes I go to the men's league games if I'm not doing anything, and I'll watch with my other friend. But I only go to the good rinks, and I went to Meadows once.
Oh, that's a nice bar.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a good facility. Frank's trade list is out now.
Oh, okay, AB, you pull it up, and we'll scroll. No, should we save it for tomorrow? Preliminary thoughts today, then we'll really scroll through it tomorrow hard. But let's pull it up. Anyway, shout out to Nation Beer, and again, just a reminder here that we are throwing a Christmas party for you, the nation citizens, for everyone in the chat. We're going to have a Christmas party for you guys at Dog Patch. It is the bar right below us in the Riverdale area, so nice and close to downtown. Very easy to get to.
Yes.
It's going to be free to get in, but we're only going to have about 30 spots. So if you think you can make it, throw it in there. If we think that like interest is really starting to go crazy, we'll make like an RSVP link. And we'll, again, just have a great time. We're going to get some of our clients in, and we're going to do like, hey, there you go. Look at that on the map. AB, you are the best.
It's like EastEnders. No one will get that.
There you
People might.
But show up. We're going to get some of our client or some of our partners to like give us a little stuff for like a mini swag bag. Also, there's a look. The food is so good.
Whoa.
So I was talking with Jay, and we're going to do a couple of different things for this bad boy. We're going to do all day happy hour at Dog Patch.
Oh.
So again, things will be discounted. We're going to have Nation Beer on special. We're going to bring one of our big 80-inch TVs down to the bar. So we're going to have a really good bar TV set up for Dog Patch. If you've been down there, the TV setup's not great. So we're going to set it up a little bit differently for our watch along. And we're going to do another food item that is going to be on special on top of all day happy hour and Nation Beer being on special.
That sounds awesome.
So trivia, giveaways, swag bag, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up.
Beer.
All day happy hour, Nation Beer. Come on. All at Dog Patch. Coming up December 12th for the game against Mini. So it's a 6:30 start. So again, you can have a couple. Next day at work won't be brutal. All that stuff. Let's go.
Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really looking forward to this event.
Yeah, it's gonna be
'Cause
fun.
I don't have to leave.
Yeah, we'll just stay here all
Just
day.
come to work. Hopefully there's some sports on during the day.
Fighting Amish, are you going to stream the party for us out of towners, out of country? AB will be doing pre and post game from the DJ booth at the bar.
I'll update you on all the happenings. Don't
That'd be
worry.
Very funny. It'd be like the
Walls will be here. I'm sure we'll post social stuff the whole time.
Yeah, we'll do a bunch of social stuff. Bo says, I'm confirmed coming. How's parking? Not great. A lot of street parking. I'd say if you can Uber, because again, holiday season, don't drink and drive. Never drink and drive.
Yeah.
But
My car got backed into out here, so
it did.
Be careful.
If you are struggling for parking, there is enough spots, but you could just park at the golf course across the bridge.
And yeah,
It's
walk
like
5
10
minutes down the road. Gord, what night again? December 12th. December 12th. You will not
Thursday.
want to miss it. December 12th at Dog Patch. Giddy up.
Be there.
Wrapping up for our friends at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Sign up today and use the promo code NATION. I got one bet I love tonight. Give me the over in Vegas and Colorado.
Oh yeah, that's
It's a great over. It's a great over.
I look at Vegas over 4.5. I have some Champions League bets for coming up.
Ooh,
right
never
now.
ordinary, Liam.
Liverpool against Real Madrid is on right now. That's will probably be one of the best games of the year. I have a Mo Salah goal, and then Bologna, the great Italian team,
It's pronounced baloney, but continue.
are playing Lille, who Jonathan David plays for, who is a Canadian.
Ah,
And on this day, I bet on him to score plus 200, pretty juicy. For the guy who's leading the Champions League in goals, by the way, plus 220 it is. So that's good. This day, when Canada was at the World Cup, they scored their first World Cup goal, Alphonso Davies. So that was pretty cool.
shout out Alfonso. Fonzie.
I was in Warman, Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Liverpool or Real Madrid?
Mo Salah.
Okay. Done. It just started, right?
Oh, yeah.
Looks like it's literally a minute ago.
Yeah. Cool. And then Liverpool, I think, will win. But yeah, it should be a great game.
All right.
Excited.
Also, need to tell you guys, Black Friday collection dropping on Nation Gear later on this week. It is going to be sweet. Can we show the images yet?
I don't know. I was
Don't
just
do
gonna
it
ask
then.
you.
Don't
I
do it.
don't think so.
Tomorrow we'll
They're
reveal.
sick.
They are
I
sick.
haven't seen them. I never see things.
I know. Okay, tomorrow we'll announce what the Nation Gear Black Friday sale will look like. I think we can do that, but it's coming. It's also going to feature discounts on everything we got on the site. Also, Jasper Bears sweater, Nation Gear, or Oilers Nation holiday sweater. You can use the promo code Tyler10 if you want to save some money there. You can if you buy one of these, use the promo code Tyler10 and show up at the holiday party on December 12th. First beer's on me. How about that?
I'm going to get one of them.
Do it. You'll save 10% with Tyler10 and you'll get a free beer.
Sweet.
Show up at the holiday.
That's a deal.
That's a good deal. I'll buy you a beer. Giddy up. Okay. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. Tomorrow, Jeff Merrick, Tyler Ennis, loaded her up.
Yeah.
John Goyens later in the week, too.
Well, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff. Jason Demers, I believe, as well. I texted him while we were doing the show. He didn't text me
Also,
back.
Calvin in the chat says he's sending us a gift to this office.
I can't wait to open it up live on the
He
air.
said it's not a gift card.
Thankfully.
There we go.
Okay. There you go. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Read Coombsy's player report cards over at OilersNation.com. Better late than never. Find that where you get your podcast from. That's coming up later today, too, with our boy BM. We'll be back tomorrow, noon Mountain Time. Enjoy and oil up.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.